Ladies and gentlemen, we have a lot to talk about. Definitely after this segment, watch the Stock Market Crash channel. The you-know-what is hitting the fan. I told you this for months. I started the Stock Market Crash channel the beginning of September. I will have a special segment on it after this live stream, so hit subscribe to the Stock Market Crash channel. I'll put it in the chat right now. Also, right after this live stream at around 11 p.m. Pacific, I will have a live stream on the upcoming stock market crash. We're going to talk about Evergrande, the debt in China. They're now 200% GDP. Okay, we have surpassed our GDP. Okay, so we're over 100% of GDP in terms of national debt. They're 200% of GDP. So, go ahead, hit subscribe to this channel, hit subscribe to the Stock Market Crash channel, and I will go ahead and do a segment on the Stock Market Crash channel after this segment, and later tonight, here's the Stock Market Crash channel. It is right there in the chat. Later tonight, I will have a whole live stream at 11 p.m. devoted to the upcoming stock market crash. Ladies and gentlemen, hit subscribe to this channel. We have a lot to talk about. Paul Bartlett starting it off. Thank you so very, very much. To my super chat, I can't do this without you, ladies and gentlemen. So thank you so very much. Paul, thank you so very much, as always, for your kind words. And I just can't thank you enough. Sorry. So China's overall debt was 270.1% of gross domestic product at the end of 2020, up from 246.5% at the end of 2019. So that's a South China Morning Post article. But anyway, we're going to talk initially, obviously, about the Durham probe. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll explain in 3 minutes because I know there are people who are going to say, and to my super chat, thank you. I can't do this without you. There are people who are going to say, "Well, I tuned in for the Durham probe information. When are people going to get indicted?" How many in the chat, and in the comment section? Oh, really quickly, Eric H526, thank you so very much. Luke, thank you. Everyone subscribe to Eric H526's channel and his channel on gaming and also his Odyssey channel. Ladies and gentlemen, and Luke, thank you. How many people have testified under oath? How many people does Durham have under oath, either in congressional testimony or closed-door testimony, or in terms of directly from John Durham? How many people? Give me a number. I want a number, ladies and gentlemen. Give me a number. Do you think it's over 20? Do you think it's over 30? How many people do you think have been under oath? Indeterminate, thank you. How many people, David, hello, how many people do you think he has under oath? Okay, he has at least 30 people under oath. So give me your thoughts below. I just told you it, though, but he has at least 30 people, starting with James Comey, Clapper, Brennan, Strzok, McCabe, Lisa Page, Kleinsmith, this guy Sussman, probably more attorneys at that law firm, probably more people at the Bureau, definitely more people at the Bureau, definitely more people at Central Intelligence, definitely more people within the intelligence agencies. This is a special counsel, so you have to ask yourself, how many people does he have under oath? That's number one. How many people does he have under oath? How many people could have perjured themselves, committed perjury? Okay, at least 30. At least 30. Okay? You have people who are at the top, then you have mid-level, James Comey, of course. Then you have people who work under them. You think Kleinsmith and Sussman aren't at the top of their either law firms or intel agencies. This is more along the lines of low-hanging fruit. That the special counsel is starting off. So when you have all of these people giving testimony, and they're not giving testimony all at once. They're giving testimony after these monumental events take place. So you have testimony before Peter Strzok's text messages and after Peter Strzok's text messages. You have testimony before Andrew McCabe was indicted and after. Well, sorry. You have testimony. You do. You have testimony. Congressional testimony before. You have congressional testimony before McCabe and was fired from the FBI, and Peter Strzok was fired from the FBI, and after. You have testimony before and after major events. You have over 30 people, almost certainly, probably a lot more, who have testified under oath, either in Congress in closed-door meetings or with the Durham probe. So you have people who have to keep up the same story. We investigated Trump because we thought that he was working with Russia. And the only evidence we had was incidentally purchased by Clinton and the DNC. But we really, really believed the nonsense. So you have to actually, when Sussman was indicted, or when Kleinsmith was indicted, Kleinsmith was indicted for deceiving a FISA judge. Sussman was indicted for allegedly lying about his ties to the Clintons and to the Democratic Party, and not believing the actual intel that he claimed to possess, that Trump was working with Russia. So the rebuttal is, partisan actors can still inform the FBI of actual facts and, foreign policy issues. Born to raise hawks. Thank you so very, very much. Robbie, hello. Born to raise hawks. Thank you. Thank you so very much. Joe Boxer. See, I told you indictments are coming. Stay tuned. It's happening. Joe Boxer. I didn't see that. Joe Boxer, thank you. Born to raise hawks, thank you so very much. Greatly, greatly, greatly appreciated. Born to raise hawks, thank you. Thank you. Joe Boxer, yes, they are coming, and you're going to have people turn on one another because the stories can, if you start off with a lie, you're going to have to continually lie to keep the story straight. New information. You have testimony that took place before and after new information came out. Okay? The way that they indicted and entrapped Michael Flynn and George Papadopoulos is they pretended to have this grandiose, all-encompassing investigation into Russia infiltrating 2016. None of that actually took place. They fabricated everything. Okay, John Durham already put away bureau agents in Boston for utilizing, one person in particular, utilizing his post as a top-level official to enrich himself or to deceive the public and commit crimes while at the same time hiding behind his post. So he put away an FBI official in prison who was actually feeding information to the informants. He was actually protecting the informants and enriching himself and lying about, he was utilizing informants in a way you can't do, which is basically protecting the informants and benefiting from doing so, and looking the other way when they committed, unspeakable crimes. So you can't do that. You can't use your post. This is why I wrote a Federalist article, 18 U.S. Code 371, when Andrew McCabe and James Comey, when they went ahead and helped conjure up this nonsense regarding Trump and Russia, they knew they were utilizing the prestige and the influence and the power they had within the United States government, which, by the way, relates directly to liberal journalists at places like Mother Jones and other places who want information from the intel community that could be detrimental to Republicans. They don't want information that could be detrimental to Democrats. So there's a lot of information detrimental to Democrats, a lot of stories that could tank Democratic Party candidacies, but they don't want that information. So what they'll do is they'll report on a Steele dossier. And Born to Raise Hogs, thank you. Joe Boxer, thank you. Paul, thank you. They'll report on a bunch of nonsense. And they will fabricate and conjure up a whole bunch of things. So when the attorney was indicted by John Durham has information showing that he didn't believe what he gave to the FBI, and that what he gave to the Bureau was influenced or was part of an effort to undermine Trump because of his political beliefs. The thing is, partisanship, bias. You cannot investigate your direct political rival simply by utilizing the United States government as a tool against your rival. You can't utilize your position in government to investigate political rivals. You can't set them up and frame them and entrap them and fabricate server communication between Trump and Alpha Bank. So they never even really specified. Like they say, well, bizarre communications. Every allegation against Trump was this broad, all-encompassing interference, bizarre, communications. So they don't know, like they never accuse Trump of taking money from the Trump organization and paying specific Russian operatives who work directly for Putin, and these are the people's names, and this is how much money Trump paid, and these were the people who worked alongside Trump within Trump's organization, and these were the people within the FSB and Russian intelligence that worked alongside Trump. Here are their names, here are their pictures, here are their profiles, here are their history in SB. Like, you don't know. There was nothing specific. Everything was conjured up and fabricated. They had nothing. Just like with Trump's tax returns, they had all of this conjecture and innuendo and all these allegations. If you do the same thing towards Hunter Biden, you're engaging in baseless claims. If you do the same thing towards Biden, you're engaging in baseless claims. What they've done is legitimize suspicion. They've actually utilized suspicion and redefined suspicion as a fact. So their emotions have been morphed into fact. Like, if they are suspicious of Trump, they have a reason to be, even though the claims are baseless. So if it's a claim in a book, or someone said, all you had during Trump's administration was former current U.S. officials. That's it. That's all you had is current and former U.S. officials. You never have any of those stories now with Biden. Rarely do you have a story with Biden. Rarely do you have a story with Biden that starts with current and former U.S. officials say. You never get that. You never get that. You don't get that because everyone should realize that media is an extension of the Democratic Party. That's it. That's it. It's an extension of the Democratic Party. Case closed. And the more that they show their cards and who they are, the more the more apoplectic and hysterical they are pertaining to Trump, who, by the way, is no longer in office. They were saying the same thing about Clinton, although Clinton used servers with top secret intelligence on them. Like, we knew exactly the allegations, and they were 100% true. Even James Comey, like, they were servers with top secret intelligence on them. The Alpha Bank server with the alleged communication with Russia, Mueller never found anything. And guess what? You can have a server with communication with Russia. That's okay, as long as you're not breaking the law. But what they've done is they've made any link to Russia a suspicious correlation, because they're the ones who accepted Uranium One money. President Obama could have vetoed the deal, the Uranium One deal. He decided not to. They're the ones who paid for a dossier with help allegedly compiled with Russian sources. They're the ones who have ties to foreign operatives. You can ask Eric Swalwell, who, I believe him. I don't think that he had any... I don't think he had a romantic relationship with anyone. I agree with him. Okay? But there are allegations that he did. An operative of another country. So there you go. So, you have to ask yourself, well, first of all, Kash Patel, this man is a hero, and he's a patriot, and he's pretty awesome, and I have a great deal of respect for this man. He predicts that you're going to see people like Comey and Strzok and McCabe, Clapper, Brennan, and Lisa Page, and others indicted. These people are on record as saying we will stop Trump. They are on record as saying we will stop Trump. They are literally on record as saying we will stop Donald Trump. I will say it again because I know it's annoying, but it's amusing to me. They are on record as saying we will stop Donald Trump. It's pretty clear they wanted to stop Donald Trump. It's pretty clear. Okay? It's pretty clear that they made up and fabricated everything. It's pretty clear. Okay? This is not like you can repeat nonsense and you could prevent people from thinking and talking and suppressing their speech. You can do anything you want. Half the country is not going to believe the nonsense from Democrats. I mean, you can look right now. This is a different topic, but it relates. And this is why you shouldn't care about what society thinks of you or what other people think of you. You should always have your own. You should not care what people think of you, ever. And you should live like Frank Sinatra's My Way. That should be your life song. You should do it your way, not society's way. If it doesn't correlate with what you want, what you want is legal and healthy and good, and you're protecting yourself or your family, and you are maximizing happiness while at the same time, ensuring that what you do is legal and healthy and safe and happy. You shouldn't care what society thinks. And this gets to social media. And how they went after Trump was all through social media, hysteria, zeitgeist, this paranoid, hysterical response to President Trump that was completely fabricated. You'd have to be a complete and utter imbecile to believe that Trump worked with Russia. Okay, but we have half the country that either pretended to believe this or... But I want to, talk about something despicable. Okay, you have Casey DeSantis, God bless her, Ron DeSantis' wife. And this is a respectful message to all the wonderful, morally superior liberals who tried to disparage Casey DeSantis. First of all, God bless Casey DeSantis and Ron DeSantis and his family. She was just diagnosed with cancer. Okay. And I wish them a speedy recovery. I wish Casey DeSantis a speedy recovery. This is a message to every morally superior liberal on Twitter who made a disparaging remark. Number one, it is the height of narcissism. You're basically evil. You're an evil human being. Well, I should say this. You are engaging in an evil practice. You might be a good person, but you are a narcissist who is pretending to be moral by doing something evil in disparaging a woman and poking fun or trying to mock or trying to insult her or DeSantis or the DeSantis family because he didn't expand Medicaid. Well, the rebuttal there is if you think you're morally superior and you can go after DeSantis for not expanding Medicaid, guess what? People on your left can go after you for not adopting or pushing Medicare for all or single payer. The further left you go, the easier it is to disparage based on this warped morality. So there are people who say, well, DeSantis wanted to cut Medicaid, and people couldn't get, they couldn't get screening for certain, Well, yeah, and guess what? If the same person who's going after DeSantis for not expanding Medicaid is probably the same person who's not on board with single-payer Medicare for all. So the single-payer advocate, the Medicare for all advocate, could say, you know what? You're just as bad as DeSantis because you don't want free universal health care. And that's not going to allow a whole bunch of people from screening and all of that. The mindset is completely warped. Not to mention, and this is the second issue, it is not moral to disparage or mock or insult somebody when, even if you believe with all of your heart, or even if you have a better viewpoint or policy in terms of politics, you're not helping anyone. You're literally doing nothing but spewing venom and vitriol and evil, and you're only spewing negativity. You're not helping people get tested or screened or protected or survive cancer or heart disease or anything by going after Casey DeSantis. You're only making yourself feel better because you're convincing yourself that Hollywood didn't give Andrew Cuomo an Emmy for putting infected people in nursing homes that caused up to 15,000 lives lost. So the same people who are going after DeSantis for his handling, which was much better than Andrew Cuomo and Phil Murphy and other Democratic governors, look at the numbers. Look at the numbers from the beginning. They keep on saying, the ladies at The View say, look at the numbers, and then half of them have to leave the broadcast because they're part of the numbers. Oh, and then it was, how many people lost their lives from partying with President Obama for his birthday? They weren't following protocols. How many people lost their lives from the Emmys? They weren't following protocols. But you don't get that on the left. You have people on the left, like liberal journalists. They have got, unfortunately, they have, ailments and diseases, and they talk about this family member is experiencing this, and then all you get is sympathy. God forbid you would get one Republican or conservative or Trump supporter or anyone, even on the far left, saying, oh, yeah, immediately Dorsey and Twitter would suspend and ban that user. But you can spew the most nonsensical, irrational. Look at the numbers. The numbers show that Democrats have zero right to talk about anything. New Jersey, God bless the people of New Jersey. God bless the people of New York. They're still atop the highest per capita rates, and they have been atop the highest per capita rates since March of 2020. Florida is towards the bottom, or middle, I should say, in terms of per capita rates. And he's done a much better job while actually allowing people to live their lives. We are heading towards a stock market crash. and a financial catastrophe because Democrats pushed to tank the entire United States economy. And Sweden did not do that. So how many people, because you've tanked all of society, if you wanted to pump $10 trillion into the economy, you could have built thousands of hospitals if you're worried about capacity. So they keep on moving the goalposts, and they say, well, we had to do this, we had to do that. You're literally helping nobody, and you're not even proving that you're right by going after Casey DeSantis or the DeSantis family. You're an absolute imbecile and buffoon and fool. Because you don't go after Andrew Cuomo. You stood silent when they gave Andrew Cuomo an Emmy, as New York had the highest per capita rates all throughout this global health issue crisis. And you have nursing home scandals, not only in New York and New Jersey, but also with Whitmer in Michigan. But you're hypocrites and you don't care. Your life, this is why we have a spiritual crisis, like a serious spiritual crisis. Like people are taking their lives more and more in this country because they don't have they're not grounded. They care too much what people think of them. And don't look like Twitter is a cesspool of the most vile and disgusting base emotions, primarily from the left. When you have Facebook and this whistleblower blowing the whistle on all the negative, all the rabbit holes that people fall into on Facebook. Only a buffoon and fool would think that Trump worked with Russia because of a Steele dossier. What kind of conspiratorial fever dream? What kind of imbecile with half of a functioning brain cell believes that? Oh yeah, half the country. Who's worried about people being believing nonsense? All you did was believe nonsense about Trump for 4 years. All you did was fabricate things and preside over the worst outcomes and the worst economic outcomes. The highest unemployment rates, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, are Democratic-run states, you imbeciles. You have no right to talk about anything, but all they do is talk. You have these fools on Twitter, these absolute, complete, and utter inept failures in life, saying that because Ron DeSantis wasn't a liberal Democrat who got an Emmy for presiding over the worst health outcomes, or didn't abide by Emmy protocols, which happen to be the antithesis of protocols. Like, how many people, when people don't abide by their protocols, you're taking people's lives. It saves lives. Your misinformation is taking lives away. How many lives were lost at the Emmys, you buffoon? How many lives were lost in President Obama's birthday party? They literally did the antithesis of the protocol that you touch yourselves in ecstasy over. But you don't call them out because you're hypocrites. You were drinking champagne in D.C. You saw those when mashed potato brains won. You had people, liberals, drinking champagne and passing the champagne bottle. Okay, I wouldn't even do that even before this whole thing. I live my life before this global health crisis pretty much the same way I do now. I don't go ahead and drink champagne bottle like the same, champagne and I don't tailgate people at the supermarket. Okay, I wash my hands all the time, always have. When you come home, wash your hands. I always did that. When do you not do that? I always social distance. Who didn't do this before? Like, they're telling you things that you should already have been doing that most people do anyway. But you have these absolute failures in life, these buffoons and imbeciles who think that because they believe DeSantis had a bad response. Why don't you look at Andrew Cuomo? He got an Emmy while he was putting infected people in nursing homes, which, by the way, the you-know-what affects the most, far before anyone else. Look at the government data. These people are clueless. If I could actually talk about the government data, I would, but it's like a big problem. So if you said a disparaging thing about Ron DeSantis or Casey DeSantis, you're an absolute fool who knows nothing about life and nothing about data, and you're a hypocrite who said nothing about the Emmys, President Obama's birthday party, or Andrew Cuomo's Emmy. You fool. Anyway, I'll get off of that. But I can't believe what I was seeing is the New York Post has an article on this. Okay? And it relates directly to Durham. And it's like Twitter trolls mock DeSantis' wife Casey over cancer diagnosis. You've literally done nothing to help. You've literally done nothing to help society at all. And you've actually, in your quest to show how moral you are, you've highlighted how immoral and ignorant you are. Because on the left, if you're not for Medicare for all and single payer, you can stop all the nonsense about expanding Medicaid. And if you're okay with Andrew Cuomo getting an Emmy, you're an absolute imbecile and buffoon. And if you're all right with the Emmys, and if you're all right with President Obama's birthday party that did not abide by protocol, then you're an absolute hypocrite, and you have no right to talk about DeSantis or his wife. And by the way, look at the numbers between Florida, New York, and New Jersey. Then get back to me on how moral and superior you are and better you are with things. Which gets back to the Durham probe, and we could then we could just bounce from there, the Durham probe, right to the economic collapse that we're probably almost certainly going to have. We'll have an economic crisis again. Well, we will definitely have an economic crisis, whether it's this month or in March or June of next year. I have been telling you the stock market is going to crash. It is crashing. I almost predicted it. I don't want to pat myself on the back because people are going to suffer, and I don't want that to happen. But I almost predicted it on the dot. I told everyone, save your money. Save. And it's still not too late. If you can save every week, save every month, do so. I don't know when it's going to crash, but when it crashes, you're going to see 3,000, 4,000 points down, 5,000 points down in the Dow in a 1 day or 2 day downward spiral into oblivion. The bond market will implode probably. The real estate market will implode probably. China has a bigger debt crisis than even we do. Because their economy is almost as large as ours. We go back and forth, but they have a bigger problem than even we do in terms of debt. And our national debt has surpassed gross domestic product. Don't expect AOC or Bernie Sanders to care. When the whole thing tanks and the House of Cards tanks, you're going to get the same pontificating. These people are the biggest imbecile. We have the most unintelligent intelligentsia on the planet. Jean-Louis! Trump needs to finish the job that Lincoln and Sherman started. Jean-Louis! Thank you, Jean-Louis! I think that you look, ladies and gentlemen, if you look at what's taking place right now, if you look at what's taking place, we are about to head into an economic catastrophe, and it's going to be Democrats and Biden who's completely... Nobody wants this infrastructure bill, even Democrats. They don't have a vision for the country, okay? You want to know how completely absurd the infrastructure bill is? Let's look at the completely... What kind of jobs would the infrastructure bill lead to? Marketplace.org. Okay, so... The infrastructure that would create around 650,000 jobs. This is interesting. According to Moody's, it's actually going to decrease GDP. But then, according to the chief economist, it'll create 650,000 jobs with $70,000 a year on average, some of them in manufacturing. From what? We had hundreds of thousands of jobs in manufacturing created under Trump before last year. You cannot blame, by the way, Trump for 2020 numbers. I see people do that a lot. I don't think it's fair at all. Okay, 2020, he basically wasn't, the government was taken away from him even more so than ever before. But on from what? These infrastructure projects are not going to, infrastructure is a small part of the U.S. economy. We have 8 million people unemployed. Okay? If you want to talk about how many unemployed Americans, we have 8.3 million people unemployed. You could probably add hundreds of thousands more. Okay? We have 8.3 to 10 million people unemployed. Okay? We have a 5.2% unemployment, but you know what? It's about 6 to 7 to 8% in Democratic-run states. So you tell me, do you think it's just 5.2% unemployment? Do you think inflation is just going to stay at 5%? It's probably going to go a lot more than that, 6% or more. But tell me what the infrastructure bill is going to do. Construction is like 3-4% of the U.S. economy, or 5%. It's not like 20 or 30% of the economy. So you have 8 million people unemployed. And how many of those people in Democratic-run states are going to pick up a shovel and start building bridges? The infrastructure bill doesn't even spend the money until years after it's passed. So you have a whole bunch of government safety net programs, fine, but you're keeping people impoverished. Democrats tanked the United States economy. They tanked the United States economy and media. They prevented people from working for a year. They prevented people from working for 1 year. This was an obscene thing. This was an obscene thing that should never have taken place. Then they're focusing on weather, and they're saying the infrastructure bill will help alter the weather. Like Storm from the X-Men. But it's not going to do so. You have articles like, the infrastructure bill is vital to America's economic future, but they don't explain how it's going to lead to the majority of 8 million people finding work. Then you're going to get all of these, oh my God, the economy collapsed and it's because of Trump. It's like, well, we're going into Biden's mashed potato brain second year. Then it's a quote, making the largest investment in public transit and in passenger rail in our nation's history. So what? What does that even mean? Who cares? How is that going to help 8 million people? How is it going to help a single mom who's out of work with 2 children? How is that? How on earth is the largest investment in public transit? Okay. And in passenger rail would have an outsized impact on job creation? No, it won't. Economic growth? No, it won't. You still have to build the things. They've been working on high-speed rail for a long time. It's still they don't really in California. It's some of it works, but it's it's already there. Some of it's already there. And greening the transportation sector, gas prices have doubled, and oil is going up. And guess what? You need fossil fuels. Get it in your brains. Get it in your green brains. You need fossil fuels now. We haven't advanced in terms of technology to just do away with fossil fuels. 90+% of all our energy needs are derived from fossil fuels still in this day and age. So tell me again how the infrastructure bill is going to help. the biggest source of emissions. Rail investment will improve equity and connect cities more efficiently. Whatever. This is all this is a public relations, and this is Fortune magazine. Economists also agree that infrastructure investment, no, liberal economists agree. Conservative economists very much disagree. You can go to Moody's, you can go to Goldman Sachs, you can go to, the Business Roundtable, the National Association of Manufacturers, and the U.S. Chamber of Commerce opposed the 28%, the 7% corporate tax hike. So there goes that. Funboilix! Excuse me, but as a vegan, calling him mashed potato brains for all of my potatoes, don't make me have my wife's boyfriend fact check you, okay? Yes! My wife's boyfriend, yes! Funboilix, hello! Hello! I hope all is well. They still don't explain. Funboilix, thank you so very, very much. He thinks it's going to... Biden thinks he's going to... Mashed potato, or I should say, let's see. Zucchini brain? Is that... Funboilix, thank you. 19 million jobs? No, it won't. It's not going to... 19 million jobs from what? There's one Moody's report that says it's going to reduce GDP. So, this infrastructure bill will reduce GDP in 10 to 20 years. That's what most of the estimates are talking about. Also, in the Wharton School of Business, they said it's going to reduce GDP in 10 to 20 years. So tell me, I don't understand. What is, they said, well, what can we do? Oh, FDR. Oh, so they're pretending that mashed potato is FDR, which couldn't be further from the truth. The baseline 15 million jobs over 10 years, assuming no new policies, but there might not even be 1 million jobs from the infrastructure bill because nobody knows what it even, they just want to, what roads and bridges around the country are going to, the Pinocchio test, and they don't even give them Pinocchios. Oh, 2 Pinocchios. They give Biden's. Listen to this. This is how biased the Washington Post fact-checking thing. It's like a DNC public relations newsletter. They give Biden's 19 million jobs claim 2 Pinocchios. It should get 500,000 Pinocchios. Okay? But it ain't going to get 500,000. It's going to get 2 Pinocchios. You better believe that. And if Trump says we have one of the best economies ever, it's a big problem, so he gets 50 Pinocchios. Jean-Louis, I can't get a new platform because this is the reality I have to work with. If I go on Rumble, if I go on Odyssey, no one's gonna, a portion of I have to build it. I haven't built it, and that's my bad. I need to build. Jean-Louis, I need to build. Please get a new platform. I have no idea what words they're having a problem with. It is. I am going to start. I have to start an Odyssey eventually soon. But Jean-Louis, it's something that I have to deal with also. Jean-Louis, thank you so very, very much. It's something I have to deal with also. It's something that I have to deal with as well. It's like, I feel that I have interesting views on politics and now the economy. And, I do need to build. I agree with you, Jean-Louis, and I agree with Eric, and I agree with others. I need to build my Odyssey channel. I need to build my, expand. But I have 2 channels on YouTube. And, my stock market crash channel is growing. Unfortunately, it's going to probably grow a lot more because we're going to have a stock market crash. But I understand, look, I have to deal with it also. It's not something that, There are a number of reasons why I can't just, immediately do that. But Jean-Louis, thank you so very, very, very much. Jean-Louis, thank you as always. But they're convincing themselves. They're convincing themselves that they're convincing themselves that if they just pass anything, they put the word infrastructure. Well, who doesn't like infrastructure? Well, but it's going to, what they're doing is expanding social safety nets. They think that's moral, but it's going to be immoral when we have another financial collapse. The original sin is that Democrats and media and the experts pushed to end the United States economy. I'm not going to debate whether the experts agreed that we had to. There are other experts that disagreed, but of course those experts are unspoken to. They're marginalized, and they're really quacks and loonies. So that's what they do. They have a fabricated consensus of experts that they worship. And then when their policies fail, they say, well, the experts said that. Well, who cares? It's a choice. You have everything you do in life as a choice. See, Democrats don't understand the concept of free will. It's a foreign concept to them. When somebody does something evil, they blame the implement. They blame whatever it is, They don't understand that laws cannot always prevent free will. That laws cannot always dictate what a person's free will compel them to do. People decide on a course of action in life. A lot of times they get lucky and they survive, or if they make a bad decision, thankfully they're fortunate in that the bad decision didn't ruin their lives. Oftentimes, really bad decisions do ruin your life. And we made a decision last year. It was based on hysteria. It was based on a paranoid response that was motivated in part by politics. Okay? When you prevent the United States economy from functioning, what you do is pretty much you've ended any hope of surviving in the near term economically. Bogdana, bye-bye! I'll add a podcast to your to-do list. Yes, I do agree with that, but then I don't know the difference between. I mean, I guess what I could do is, Bogdana Papai, thank you. I guess what I could do is, transfer my uploads or my live streams to the podcast. Bogdana Papai, thank you so very, very, very much. Greatly appreciated, as always. Thank you for your generosity. Yes, I agree with you. Leanna Conley, H.A. How can we red pill more demented Dems? Yes, Rumble, Odyssey, Telegram. Go for it, please. The experts are just marketers. Thermography, truth checkers need to combat them. Two-way street. Thank you, Thermography. Leanna Conley. I would say, that's a great question. And Bogdana Papai, thank you. I would say, Liana, the best thing to do is not even try. Don't ever try to convince a children of the corn, apoplectic, morally superior, Joy Behar loving, view watching, morally superior, wonderful, beautiful, Democrat. Don't do it. It would actually be more fun to run into a brick wall. If I had a choice between running into a brick wall or taking a 2x4 and bashing myself in the head, or getting into a debate with a morally superior liberal whose prom photo was most likely this. This is how they look. Every morally superior has the same look. Looking into this look like only they hold the key to morality, don't you understand? Only they can prevent and protect society from the ruthlessness and the cruelty of the Republicans and Trump. They truly believe that they hold the key to knowledge. And Liana, when they're proven wrong, they just double down. So the best thing, thank you so very much, by the way, Liana Conley and Bogdana Papai, thank you. The best thing is just never bring it up to them. Don't even talk to them about it. You know, my thing is that with people I know, there are people I care about, I don't talk politics because I know that there's certain people that I care about and, you know, I can't talk politics with them. I don't want to because I know their vantage point. They know my vantage point. There's no point. There's no point. Look, I would say Bogdana Papai, Liana, everybody here, it is better in this day and age, in my view, it is better in this day and age to believe in something greater than yourself. I'm not saying that religion is for everybody, and it really doesn't matter what the religion is, but it's better to believe in this in 2021. You know what? In 2021, it's probably better to believe in a religion, any religion, than just being an atheist, and I'll explain why. If you're an atheist or agnostic and you put actual truth and reason and logic and rational thought above anything else, that's fine. You're not going to disown your friends, or you're not going to disown family, and you're not really going to care what people think politically because it'll be a very small part of your life. If you're an atheist or agnostic, or if you're a young person who says, "Well, I don't care," like it's like, you can't prove God exists. Well, yeah, you can't prove that Trump worked with Russia. In fact, you had no evidence, but you believed it anyway. You put faith in James Clapper, but you don't put faith in God. So that makes no sense. But if you're a young person and you have no, foundation, or if you're any person on this in 2021, you have no foundation, you're going to be affected if, God forbid, something happens to you and you put it out on Twitter, and look what they did to Casey DeSantis, and God bless her. I went on my little rant. You saw earlier on how foolish and evil these people are. But, the good thing, hopefully, about DeSantis and his family is that they don't care what Twitter says. You shouldn't care what Facebook or Twitter, or you shouldn't even care what your friends think, as long as you're doing something healthy, happy, that gives you happiness, joy, that's healthy and legal and safe. But what I'm trying to say is, this is a time where we're going to reach another financial collapse, stock market crash. It's going to be devastating. You're going to see the left, and you're going to see politics via social media go into overdrive, because the more the reality sets in that every Democratic policy has been an unmitigated, catastrophic failure, the more that they'll try to blame Trump, or they'll try to, pin things on people. They'll try to deflect, and they won't look in the mirror. And that's going to be a tough time for the country, because you have all of media they're going to desperately try to find a way to protect Biden. But also beyond all of that, people should inoculate themselves and protect themselves from the hysteria and paranoia and just all the venom and vitriol from social media and from things that aren't real. That's why I say, delete your Twitter account, your Facebook account, your Instagram account. I don't go on I'm not on Twitter or Facebook. I don't view YouTube so much as social media. They say it is, but it's this is like a glorified VCR machine. If you just put in the VHS of H.A. Badman. It's like you can just, this is a VHS on demand or video on demand. But like, any message board, stay away from. Any message board, stay away from. Social media, stay away from. What your friends think of you, who cares? What society thinks of you, who cares? What Jimmy Kimmel or whatever, like, you know, Hollywood, it's like, who cares? They're hypocrites anyway. Look at the Emmys. You shouldn't care what people think of you. You should have the Ramones mindset or the Pistols mindset or the old punk rock mindset. Lemmy from Motorhead's mindset. You should have the mindset you don't care what people think of you as long as you're living your life and you're happy and you're not hurting anybody. And this is not something that exists in 2020. I've never seen this world. I've never seen people so petrified of their own shadow. And it's like, I don't know. Liana, thank you. David! Today's sheeple or tomorrow's mutton pull. David, thank you. I just think that you should get away from anything that isn't real. Alice, thank you so much. I think that people care too much about what others think of them, and there was a rise in young women taking their lives during the global health crisis, okay? And I think that's social media is a very, very dangerous and harmful and unhealthy thing. Whether it's Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and it's not because of what the whistleblower was saying, because that's like an act, okay? That's like a hilarious act. How can we repackage blowing the whistle into what will help Democrats and silence any conservative thought by repackaging it as, you know, this or that or whatever? People don't have Fun Boy Alex! How much money to get Goodman to dance around in short shorts and a syringe? Yeah, they're definitely not in a cult. That is hilarious. Yes. Fun Boy Alex, thank you. Ronald, hello. I think that you're looking at a crisis, and I don't speak like this. I know that people are going to be like, oh my God, he's gone completely mental. We have a spiritual crisis in our country. It's a spiritual crisis. I'm not talking about, you know, the rise of atheism, or that's fine. I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about people are not grounded. They don't know who they are. You know, at a young age in the 80s and 90s, you would see people gravitate towards a music scene, just like they did in the 60s and 70s. Okay? You could see, like, it was part of who they are. And if they had their hair different or whatever, they wouldn't care. Okay, this doesn't happen now. I think that, like, there's too much of there's too much of an emphasis on what the collective does. The collective can kiss my rear end. I don't care about the collective. That's like a communist, like, evil mentality. Everyone in the United States of America is responsible for themselves and their lives. And, you know, you're responsible for your own happiness. You can't rely on anyone else, even family members, even friends, to ensure that you're happy. You have to make sure that, you have to make sure that the music you listen to makes you happy. Obviously, I'm not trying to trivialize issues like depression. There are certain issues like depression. Yes, there's no easy fix. But if there's a big rise in attempts to take your life by young women during the past year and a half, well, gee, what was around this year more than 5 years ago or 10 years ago? Oh, Instagram, social media, TikTok. Well, that's video-based, but Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, JG, yes. It's a completely foreign thing. JG, always a pleasure, always an honor. JG. Can I get out to the poor red states? Yes, but you do understand. Go to the Bureau of Labor Statistics really quickly. Okay, I'm gonna have to go to the Bureau of Labor Statistics because I'm compelled by the forces of good and righteousness. Bureau of Labor Statistics. Let's look at all the anti-trickle down, and let's look at unemployment by states. What states have the highest unemployment rates? Oh, look, it's all the blue states. Nevada, 7.7% unemployment. By the way, the national unemployment rate is 5.2%. So let's talk about economics, shall we? So 5.2% nationally. Nevada, 7.7%. California, 7.5% unemployment. New York, 7.4% unemployment. New Mexico, 7.2% unemployment. New Jersey, 7.2% unemployment. Connecticut, 7.2% unemployment. Illinois, 7% unemployment. Hawaii, 7% unemployment. D.C., 6.5% unemployment. Pennsylvania, 6.4% unemployment. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The 10 highest unemployment rates are in places or states run by Democrats. Blue states. So please, let's pontificate about economics. Anyway, getting back to the crisis of spirituality. There is a problem we have in our country. Not really my style to go into all of this, but it relates to the horrendous stock market crash that I've been predicting on this channel and the stock market crash channel, which is going to lead to a devastating crisis again because Democrats and media pushed to end the United States economy because they wanted to save you. We have a spiritual crisis in our country. Hallelujah. No, there is a crisis spiritually in the country. We are, half the country, thank God, has a better grasp on spirituality. I'm not even talking about like support. Okay. There are people who don't like Trump, who don't care about politics. They have a good grasp on spirituality. They're fine. People who don't like Trump, who are okay with differences of opinion, it's fine. People who do like Trump, who haven't disowned, which is most Trump supporters haven't disowned friends or family. They don't care if you vote for Biden. They have a better grasp on spirituality. People on the left, far left, who actually are okay with different viewpoints, good grasp on spirituality. I think that people who have devoted their lives to political tribalism have a weak grasp of spirituality, and also I would say add 10% to make those numbers reality based. HE, thank you. Thermography, thank you. I would say there is perhaps 30 to 40% of the country where you have politics and tribalism and political allegiance surpasses every other type of connection, like interpersonal connection. And I think it's affecting everybody. And I think that when you have a society that is afraid of its own shadow and is beholden to the whims of, or like, we never used to say, well, what does the government think about this? This is not a foreign concept to me, and it affects younger people. I have never in my life, and I grew up like respecting teachers and authority, but even then, I never in my life would say, well, the government says this, so therefore it must be true. If anything, at a young age, I would say the government's probably lying, or whatever. Maybe I would trust the government here and there. Maybe I wouldn't, but it wouldn't be a part of who I was. And I also, at a certain point, learned that, of course, I cared what people thought about me, but of course I did. Every young person does. Most people do, but like, I didn't really care too much. Like, if I liked something, it could be anything. It could be like pro wrestling. If my friends didn't like it, I wouldn't care because I liked it. I wasn't beholden to the whims of others on most issues, even though, like everybody, you'd care what people think of you. I think nowadays, if you're on social media and if you're a young person, you're on social media and somebody tries to disparage or mock you or like take screenshots and, put conversations up, and it's like, that would hurt in any time period, but I think now it hurts even more because our society is like afraid of its own shadow and doesn't have, we have ceded authority to unelected officials to tell us what's good and bad in life. I haven't, you haven't, half the country has. This is absurd. This is a mania that's taken hold. Why would I need, when the numbers are there, or data or whatever, on any issue, foreign policy on any issue, why would I need to suspend logic and critical thinking skills because a consensus of buffoons called experts say something on any topic? Or why would I care what people like? Well, I guess what I'm trying to say is there used to be traditions, or there used to be like music, or there used to be like going to the movies was a fun thing. Now all of these traditions or pastimes, they're not necessarily what they used to be, and I think that they're not as strong, they're not as important to the average American as they used to be. And I think it's affecting a lot of people, especially young people, because there's no foundation anymore. There's no foundation in terms of protecting people from the views and opinions of others. If you care too much what people think of you, you're in a very bad place. And especially young people in our society care too much what people think of them, because social media amplifies the views of imbeciles. All of these politicians, all these political views would be laughed at if they weren't, not all, but a lot of them would be completely disregarded immediately if it were not for social media amplifying them. I don't know. I just think that, I think that there is a type of spiritual crisis. And what I mean by spiritual crisis, I mean, one spirit, one spirit should be immune to the apoplectic condemnation or judgment of others. Thermography! 30% of the country can't see Joe's decline in the basics. Forget what it needs to be a leader. Pretty sad times for people with a brain. Exactly. Exactly. I agree with you. I had thermography. Thank you. I had in high school teachers, like a philosophy teacher. Okay, we were taught to question, and we were taught to even question passages from Nietzsche and Carl Jung and all these they don't. This is a completely. Nowadays, it's different. Everything's different. People care too much about these artificial boundaries that were created, by the way, within the past 6 or 7 years. I don't know. There's no people are losing their lives because we already had a problem with we already had a problem with society being disconnected from reality because of social media. Now you've imposed all of these regulations, because of the goodness of people's hearts. And it's just disconnected people further from reality. I think it affects the youngest people the most. I don't know. Getting back to happier things, like the financial crash coming. Just joking. Give me your thoughts below. Right now, yes, I agree. That's what I was referring to, as you know. This is a beautiful, awesome thing. It's a surreal and beautiful, awesome thing. This is happening in real time. You should always, I guess the last thought would be, what kind of bizarre world do we live in where you can have such rampant hypocrisy that is ignored? Just ignored as if none of the hypocrisy is taking, like the Emmys, for example. I mean, are you kidding me? And it's like, or the fact that this is not an example of hypocrisy, this is an example of incompetence. Go to the stock market crash channel right now. I will have a segment that I'm going to talk about. It's going to be really important. This is a lot of what's taking place pertains to the debt, the immense debt in China right now. And I will talk about this. So go to the stock market crash channel, and tonight around 11 p.m. or so, I will have a segment on the stock market crash and what we've been talking about, because it's happening, people. It is happening, and it's not going to be fun. Where's Biden? Not Hunter. We know he's probably doing something almost certainly deviant. Where's Mashed Potato? Where is he? We are on the edge. We're about to experience, whether it's this month or next week or next year, with it or March or April of next year, we're about to experience the worst stock market crash, one of the worst stock market crashes in history. Where's Mashed Potato Brains? This is a serious question. I know I'm saying Mashed Potato Brains. Where is he? He's not. Is he worried about the infrastructure bill? When the stock market collapses, the economy is going to take a hit. How's he going to react? Why doesn't he even care now? Does he not even know? Everyone, look, I will have predicted the stock market crash, but guess what? Obviously, there are billionaires that have been saying this. And in politics, nobody's talking about this, but I've been talking about this, and that's politics is the little realm I'm in, and I'm one of the few people, if not the only person in politics, harping on this, obsessing over this. It's going to happen, but people much wealthier and more, experienced than I am have been talking about this. Not many of them, but probably a handful, 6 or 7, in the realm of finance. And then you get like these petulant, Michael Burry always predicts the stock market crash. He's been wrong a bunch of times. Like, well, you know what? He bet $750 million on the fact that credit default swaps and the market and the real estate bubble would tank in 2008. So I think he pretty much knows, and he thinks, these people are talking about everybody from Peter Schiff to Michael Burry to Jeremy Grantham to all these like really, really Robert Kiyosaki, who's awesome. He actually predicted it this month, and if it happens this month, he will have actually picked the actual month. I'm not going to tell you which month. I don't know when. All I can tell you is that I've been talking about it for months, but in the beginning of September, I said, and this is way before the first of the 3 500-point downturns, I said, you know what's going to hit the fan, and it's hitting the fan. But anyone with, like, the writing's on the wall. Save your money every month. Make sure, if you have money in the market, even today, I would say if you're about to retire, if you need cash, if your investments went down to zero and you would be, oh my God, I have no money in the savings. Take some money off the top, if you've made money, take money and profit. Take money and profit. Put it in the bank. You're going to have to probably pay taxes on it, depending on how long you've owned it, but make sure you have some money saved. It's going to get very bad. Very, very, very bad. And you're going to get AOC and Bernie, all the working class, they'll be completely blindsided and clueless as usual. They're not even concerned with any of this. They're concerned with propping up a very corrupt political party. Save your money every month. Kameshwari, Kate, stop making that face. Kameshwari, Kate, thank you. Christian O'Brien, he must be campaigning. Christian O'Brien. Save your money every month. And let me tell you something. I'm saying this to the Biden voters. I'm saying this to the Bernie voters. I'm saying this to thermography. Yeah, I know. For what? I agree with you. I have no for destroying Libya. I'm saying this because I'm not like the left. Even though I was on the left my whole life. Thank God I left the left. Thank God. It's the worst place on the planet. I won't be happy if people on the left lose their money, like in Bitcoin or whatever. I'm not going to be happy. I don't want anyone to lose their money. I don't care if you voted Biden or Trump or whatever. I don't care. You know what? Because everybody has family, children to feed, people to feed. This is going to be bad. I would even say also, like, it's not my style. It's not my style. I feel weird saying this. It wouldn't be a bad thing to stock up on canned goods. I know it's almost embarrassing to talk like this, but if anything, for climate change, when the climate change gets to you, and there's, I'll try to make it cooler. Stock up on canned goods, not because of the financial collapse that Looney Tunes Badman thinks is going to happen, because of climate change. No, but seriously, make sure you have money in the bank saved up that you could access if, God forbid, you lose your job because of a financial crisis that mashed potato brains and his merry band of imbeciles cause, which is going to happen. And they caused it last year. They pushed for it. Trump said, well, let's open up the economy. There were a couple of things in hindsight that Trump did that was, I don't want to use the word weak, but he did not, he was too worried about what people thought of him, which is funny because that's not his style. But he was bullied in a way to end the economy, and he should never have done this. That's the original sin. That's the original sin. And it's going to get bad because how do you rebound if you've already pumped in $10 trillion? How do you do that? How do you do that? And the interest rates are at zero, so then what are they going to do? And imagine if the market crashes before the infrastructure bill is going to be build this Lego set, and that's the infrastructure. That's the only thing we can afford now. Anyway, give me your thoughts below. Good times, everybody. Happy times. Hit subscribe to this channel, ladies and gentlemen. Exactly, JG. Exactly. Hit subscribe. Be on my stock market crash channel in 10 minutes, people. In 10 minutes. Very special segment. Be here at 11:15 or so. We'll do a 45-minute, 1 hour segment on the stock market crash that's happening. I mean, I almost predicted it on the nail. Beginning of September, I was talking about it. Nobody was in politics. Give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe right now. Thanks, everybody. Ian, my man, Ian, as I thank Ian so much. I can't thank you enough. Ian's hitting the fan, and I'll be upwind from the fallout. I got some cash, and I saved, and I still have my bag of spend me money that I keep separate from my main stash. I'm all stocked up. Ian, God bless you. God bless you. David, thank you. David Schmidt, thank you. Ian, God bless you. Stay safe. And I would say this, Ian, thank you so much. I can't thank you enough. M. Ray, hello. Ian, everybody here, if prepare for the worst, because God forbid it's going to happen, it'll happen. Prepare for the worst, and then you will be inoculated, protected, because the level of, look, Ian, I think everybody here, I might start the nuclear confrontation channel pretty soon because, I mean, you know what could be going down with Taiwan. So, again, it's like I've been talking about this, too. China sent 56 warplanes into Taiwan zone. I mean, I've been telling, did I not tell you this? I'm starting the playlist on the Taiwan invasion that I was doing. I've been telling you this. I've been telling people, Ian, I've been telling everybody. Poor Taiwan is going to get invaded because China almost certainly wants to create a war to deflect from the massive debt issues it has. It's going, I mean, this is serious stuff. It's going down. Anyway, good times, everybody, good times. Ian Moyer, thank you. Ian Moyer, thank you so very, very much. God bless you, everybody. Keep safe, everybody. I'll have a special segment right now. I have a special segment on China on the Stock Market Crash channel right now in 10 minutes. Be there, and I'll have a special segment at 11 or so on this channel live stream. But go to the Stock Market Crash channel right now. Thanks, Ian. As always, thanks, everybody. God bless.